Bum 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 bum. Welcome, everyone, planet Earth, to the Vidulant Podcast. Stay vigilant, everybody. Grow your sales, cut your costs. Let's get going. So, just had a wonderful lunch with a new business friend, and I gotta tell you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, networking is the most fun you're ever gonna have. It never feels bad to meet someone else that gets it, that knows what's going on, that has a perspective, that is flexible, that is dynamic, that works their fucking ass off, and isn't too proud to work smart. A lot of people are afraid of success, afraid of money, and make them think that it will turn them evil. That's all ego, man. That's all ego. What else I got? I got new business cards. So Vigilant, that's the logo, typeface. Made it myself. This is the problem with being an entrepreneur. You can technically do everything in the business yourself because you're such a generalist. But and I got this conference coming up in February 5th, SaaStr. I got my team, I got the product, I got my market. Very excited. Now I put as my tagline um, B2B video automation. I immediately regretted it, thinking no one's gonna fucking know what that means. I was gonna put B2B marketing automation, which is a tagline I went with immediately after I put it on here. Um, However, the automation hinges on content, which is focused primarily on video. So hopefully it'll be a um, conversation starter. It's not a waste of $100, but Canva. Shout out to Canva. Super impressed. Paid for free shipping, 3 to 5 days, I think, or 5 to 6 days. I got it in under 2 days, and shipped in this nice box. I posted on Instagram. Very impressed. And when you get more than you felt you paid for, when you feel like you got more value than the money you gave, the cost doesn't even matter, especially in a business sense. But when you feel you are not getting what you're paying for, you're not getting enough for what you're paying for, that feeling ruins the whole situation and the deal goes sour. Great example is I was vetting a vendor for a client who provides, they call it content experience. It's a B2B blog, okay? It's a B2B blog, business to business blog, which is different than a business to consumer blog with because of some minor issues. But needless to say, effectively you have less people viewing it, but the differences amongst the average viewer are far greater than on a consumer-based blog where you have many people viewing it, but the difference between each viewer in regards to how they need to use your product is very very small. So these fucking guys, man, enterprise software drives me crazy. So I'm on the call. We've had like 4 calls with these people. The team's on board. Everyone likes it. There's some doubts, but we're moving forward, and we have a pricing meeting. And they think that pricing is a big deal, so they hide it in the back. But if you are wowing your customers and clients and prospects with time savings and new revenue opportunities and all sorts of interesting stuff, when you're actually solving their problem that they have the money to solve, but not the time, typically, the money's not an issue. So these people wanted $45,000 to $55,000 for a year's worth of service, and this came with some training and so on. 2 months of onboarding, and that's about, what is that? $2,000 a month? No, $4,000 a month, roughly, and that's like nothing, for a company that needs 5 or 6 of these things weaved together, plus support, plus consultants, plus content, plus the whole thing, right? And you can easily spend $1 million on your marketing, easily. And so the price isn't an issue. The things we needed to do are an issue. And I asked, listen, I don't know, nor do you really know for certain if the people I'm trying to sell, this very small segment of the population, will enjoy the experience that your content provides. I like everything it does, but I don't know if it'll work for them. And then I have to make sure my team uses it too. So if I force onboarding on my team for a product that ends up not being the right product for my market, which is objective, which I can't control what the sales psychology is for this type of product or purchase, nobody can change that. I have to serve that need. I can't change that need. And so it's not going to be a good fit for both of us. So I need to find that out as fast as possible. And if it's not the right solution, I got to switch it out for another solution. And they all get all blustery. Oh, but we can't. We're a year service. Oh, we have no pricing. Listen, asshole. If you're going to tell me to my face that you're going to not disappear when we sign the contract and you're going to stick around and provide great customer service, here's your first opportunity to provide great customer service. Customize the product for my needs as an enterprise client or my client's enterprise needs. Give me a trial period. I don't care what the trial period costs. I just don't want to get locked into something and burn all my social capital because of a bad vendor selection that I won't know until you force me to select you as a vendor. So you're automatically removing yourself from having any shot at A, one-time revenues, B, getting more use cases out of potential prospects, and C, a larger contract. Because if it works, we're going to lock in, man. We don't want to switch technology that works. Finding the right technology is the hardest part. So they balked. Everybody balks. They act at the enterprise software space like they are such hot shit. And I'm like, dude, you need to teach first, sell last. You need to be a servant leader. You are not here to make me feel bad and pressure me into making a sale. I know all the sales tactics. I use many myself. I see through the psychology, the branding, all that bullshit. It doesn't work on me. So what does work is clear value propositions. And in the industry, in the enterprise space, especially B2B, man, people don't want to do that. Listen though, if you're selling me something for 45 grand a year, let's just say 50 grand a year, if I can get a 3 to 6 month trial period at full clip, I would gladly pay a third to half of that cost up front. I would gladly pay 25 grand for 3 to 6 months. Let's just say 1 quarter. Pay all your expenses, add some margin on top so you're not wasting your time, and service my goddamn needs. What's the problem here? And it goes to show that they're not very customer oriented. They're not enterprise ready, and they are not I think those two things are my main gripes. You know what I'm saying? Great sales process, they're very cool and collected, and it was fantastic, but good sales can often be hiding poor service. And that's not, for me, a good business model. It might work in the short term, it might get you a 2-run homer, but your company's going to go out of business when it doesn't support its customers, especially when someone makes the switching cost lower than yours. So there's a famous example out there of a company that forces the sale on you, and whom I would love to take clients away from so they have to buy me. And maybe I can inject some customer service into their organization. But to me, the customer's always right, man. Whatever they need, whatever you need, I'm here to service you. Whatever you need. That's the same approach I take with my consulting clients. That's the same approach we're going to take with our enterprise B2B clients. Hey, we're here to help you, not the other way around. You're paying us a fee. If we need to charge more, we'll add some reasonable fee to cover it. But whatever you fucking need, man, we're here to help. Don't worry about it. You need us to do this project, in my consulting space, whatever they need from me. From research, landing pages, financial models, training, it doesn't matter. Whatever you need and we can do for you, we will do it and we will offer it. And guess what? We're not always the best choice, even if we can. Often we don't get the contracts, even though we provide the service. And I think rightfully so. You don't need to hire us for everything. And if we can be of assistance with the vendor, you can hire, then great. We're here to help, man. That's my MO. That's my motto. Add clear and demonstrable value to the world. If you're not adding value to the economy, you are broke. And you gotta fix your mindset so you can find some value and figure out how to collect the skills to add that much value. And the more value you can add, the more fuck, then they're gonna go ahead and buy it anyway. So you have to deliver that thing that they want. Like cigarettes we want to feel cool. You know what I mean? We want to feel cool and like badasses, like cowboys. And that's in us. That's not planted in there by Marlboro. That's uncovered by the marketing executives. Um, which is some fucking old economy shit. Can we talk about that? Oh my god, cigarettes? For real? Are they still a thing? And I used to smoke. I'm the dumb scientist, true and true, through and through. I wanted to know what it was like to be. I'm seeing it's high school, junior year. I'm like, why do all these kids smoke? I see everyone smoking cigarettes. What the fuck is the deal with this? Oh, I'm addicted. I hear. Oh, it's da da da. I need my next cigarette. What the fuck is that about, right? And so I'm like, senior year. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna run a little experiment here. I'm gonna start smoking and see what it's like to get addicted. Now, for some reason, I made the decision to smoke hand-rolled cigarettes. I thought it was cooler, more fun. And so through, I don't know, halfway through senior year, through probably 3 or 4 years total, I was smoking unfiltered hand-rolled cigarettes with that, like, sometimes they started out with that cheap rolling paper, just these dirty top tobacco cigarettes, and totally got addicted to the lifestyle of taking it out, rolling it, lighting it up, and just being able to do that for very, it's like $5 or $6 per pouch. Um, so I get it. I didn't have as many of the additives that a prepackaged cigarette has to make it effectively smoother and more addicting, but I definitely got addicted. Um, New economy cigarettes are going to um, be like teas. I'm telling you, other herbs you can smoke that might actually have medicinal benefits through the bloodstream, while still giving you that fire and smoke, visceral, ritualistic, kind of pseudo shamanistic experience that kids love. It's like being on a vision quest or something. It just soaks and reeks of some ancient tradition. Fire, me make fire now. You know. Shout out to really strong coffee. Holy crap, got me rambling here. So it's a very interesting time to be alive. Very dynamic economy. I know people are talking about this and that, but the fundamentals I keep seeing are really strong. Good growth, good revenues, good investments from companies in across every sector in general, I should say. Of course, there's tariff issues and shutdown issues and all this shit, but in general, it is the greatest time to be alive ever. And if you want to join the new economy, it's just a matter of wanting to, of identifying it and willing it into existence. Because there's no training course, there's no university, there's no degree, I should say. There's no um, program that will get you in there. You just have to get your foot in the door and start learning and make it happen. And anyone can do it. Any business can join the new economy. Any person can join the new economy. It is tremendously fun. I wouldn't give it up for the world. Um, in fact, I just want to make more money, more. I want to increase my cash flow, increase my asset base, and increase my social impact. And so I have 3 companies I'm working on. Uh, One is my consulting, which is me and some vendors. The other is a software company, Vidulant, for wealth creation. And the other for social impact is a podcast solution, B2C podcast platform that we're launching. I'm the CEO of this new social media firm, taking it to market. Working on our first deal for a major podcast network. Very exciting. I'll announce that when there's something to announce, but looking forward to it. What else? Going to SaaStr. So this is the Vidulant show. I'm trying to focus on Vidulant and B2B marketing. Going to SaaStr February 5th, 6th, 7th. And it's like supposed to be the Shangri-La of SaaS companies, where the cloud meets, and it's in San Jose. It's gonna be exciting. Never been. Booked my tickets. I got a free, what do they call it? Inclusivity ticket because I'm an immigrant. I'm like, all right, $450. I'll save that. Um, if they knew my political leanings, they probably wouldn't can be so inclusive. But needless to say, I'm won over by the brand. You can't help but love these people. They're absolutely fantastic, if not too liberal for their own good. But who's to say at the end of the day? Um, and so we got the team together, we got the product getting ready, and then we got our market, man. It's all coming together. Very excited. Very, very excited. Let's get into some news. Don. So expect our podcast studio to get upgraded in the months to come here. Um, Trump lawmakers reach deal to reopen government for 3 weeks. That's good. Get some negotiation flow. Nobody wins everything. Nobody walks away completely satisfied in a negotiation, in a good negotiation, where everybody wins something, everyone also loses something. So you can't walk away unscathed. And Trump knows that. He just wants the wall, man. Everyone's got a wall in their home, in their house. It doesn't make sense not to have one around the country. And that 3 weeks should get, I imagine, the back pay for those people so they can last another few months if it doesn't work out. Staffing problems delay some flights. Yeah, I saw that. Stone charged in Mueller probe. Now, is Roger Stone a caricature of a lobbyist? I'm not sure. He might very well be. Pence pledged U.S. backing before Venezuela opposition leaders move. Oh, that's a mess down there, man. Could you imagine? That's what it could have been like in America if we didn't have such strong institutions. Let's be real. We could be fighting in the streets versus fighting on Twitter. Very big difference. And as an Iranian born immigrant, it is in my blood that that's possible. And so I practice so many freedoms by being an entrepreneur in America that it makes me unbelievably grateful. I mean, people, at the end of the day, man, the average person just wants the opportunity to try unimpeded to realize their full potential. Most people don't want what they don't believe they deserve, what they haven't worked for. Most people. It's just room to grow. That's all we want. And America, whatever you want to say about that, it does get the fuck out of your way pretty much as a country. For the average person. And Huawei, oh man, every time I say that, I just know a little light lights up. A red light bings in China, in some PLA bunker. Major carrier halts Huawei purchases amid security fears. I'm reading this in a Huawei, man. Really want to love this company, but I just know they're spying on me. When Charlie Munger calls, listen and learn. Okay, let's get to business. So all the major indices are looking decent. US 10-year notes are down. Together we can make cigarettes history. We are committed to a smoke-free future. Philip Morris International. Well. Is Huawei giving them my mic access? Good lord. I don't smoke cigarettes. Unless they're doing a banner across the whole thing for awareness. Ooh, no. Their button didn't work. Via double click. Davos 2019. Time to take action. Via PMI. The ongoing war between anti-tobacco lobbies and the industry has reached for far too long. Now it's time to call a truce. It's time to focus on the people who matter, the world's 1 billion smokers, good lord, and produce solutions that work for them. To that end, coming up with better alternatives to continued smoking for the men and women who would otherwise continue to smoke cigarettes is a matter of urgency. The World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos is once more bringing together leaders from around the globe to solve the planet's most complex challenges. Well, interesting. Alright, staffing problems. Brands invent new lines for only Amazon to sell. Excuse me? Amazon.com is asking consumer companies to create brands exclusively for it after finding that it is too costly and time consuming to develop them on its own. What the fuck does that mean? It's like a private white label? I've never heard of that before. Man, you have to have insane distribution to ask another company to make a product just for your store? That's wild. I wonder what the economics are. Better margins, I guess. But for who? I mean, Walmart doesn't have the guts to do that. Major carriers halt Huawei purchases. The world's biggest mobile carrier outside China said it is temporarily halting purchases of some components made by Huawei, posing a threat to the Chinese company's growth and dealing another blow to its reputation. I mean, Scott Galloway, I keep bringing him up, but let's be real, and don't let this go to your head, Scott, but he's a genius. He called it. He's like, there's a couple, who's going to be the fifth company to rival Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Apple. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple. The four, he calls them in his book, the four. So the next horseman, he calls them, the fifth horseman, is potentially could come out of China, but he cites this very problem that investor and consumer perception of government intervention with Chinese brands is a big, big issue. He's right again. Industry hopes for detente in U.S.-China trade spat. Who writes headlines for these newspapers? I love the words they use. Facing backlash. Silicon Valley says it could change. And then talk about a smug white person. It's so funny to me that poor kid from that Christian school, wherever, Covington, his smirk was the smirk that launched 1,000 ships. This smirk is from Sheryl Sandberg is far more smug because she's a billionaire that got away with it. At the annual World Economic Forum in Switzerland, some tech executives have a message for leaders concerned about their increasing size and power. We're changing our ways. We have lots of PR companies that will help convince you that we're changing our ways. Facebook, Microsoft, and other big players say they have a greater responsibility to mitigate the dangers of their own creations. Hey, really? Your products need to be safe? And you might actually be held responsible if they're not used? I want to see the gun industry deal with that, man. Your product, to me, is your responsibility for life. I believe that. I don't know if that's feasible, but that is what I believe from where I am today on the ground floor. So we'll see as I become fucking rich if things change. But Davos, Switzerland. Can we also change the venue to something that doesn't sound like an 80s band? The world's biggest tech forum companies, blah, 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 this week. I've seen a live tweeting of Sheryl Sandberg's talk, and it's pretty insane. With scale, we do have an appreciation that we have a greater sense of responsibility to the communities in which we operate. Ruth Porat, Alphabet's chief financial officer, said during panel discussion this week, how do you make sure that technology really is a democratizing force? That's one of the areas where we're spending a lot of time. Hey man, just solve the problem. Stop talking about it. Just solve it. You have all the resources on earth to solve this problem. Just solve it. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear apologies. Someone who apologizes a lot to you is the worst. Just change. Shut up and change. I don't want to hear it. Oh, why? Because changing is a lot harder than apologizing. Ugh. But everybody wants to be in the new economy, where we're forced forward towards self-actualization. They all are positioning themselves rather weakly. If someone actually starts a company that genuinely has principles based on helping people become self-actualized, whatever you do, man, janitorial services, just imbue the company with the purpose of helping people get to a better place in their lives. You will become more successful. people will gravitate towards your brand. I promise you. That's what everyone wants to trick you into thinking who's not doing it. Oh, God. PR. What a wonderful industry. Drug maker AbbVie swings to loss on charge from stem-centric steel. Colgate Palmolive sales decline. No fucking way. I would have thought. GE reworks Wapti deal to raise more cash for itself. No duh. Oh man. FDA cites exposure to likely carcinogens in blood pressure drugs? Jesus Christ. I don't even want to know what that means. Chinese cars are still cheap, but they're no longer ugly. I'm like rooting for China, man. I bought this Huawei phone, computer to literally invest a little bit into China. Just symbolically. I wanted to see China succeed. A successful China is a successful America, and a successful America is a successful China. We all need to come together through trade. I really believe in union through trade, union through commerce. And I want to see Chinese companies succeed. I want to see their middle class do well. Because everyone will do well, right? Designers from Rolls-Royce, BMW, and elsewhere have been recruited to give Chinese cars more styles. Their creations could be headed to dealerships near you. Dude, I'd buy a Chinese car. Is it gonna steal everything in my phone? Of course. That's the price of doing business. Is the PLA gonna be watching me through my camera? Of course. But what are they giving me here? How cheap is it? I wonder how much a Chinese car costs. Great Wall Motor Company. Let's see what that's about. Great Wall Motor Company is on the stock market? $7. It must be a revenue thing. Great Wall Motors. Not Matt Damon. Dun 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 dun. Let's see. Chinese Way. Redefined luxury. They look good. They got a Ford or a GMC. Wow, they're almost. Yeah. Interesting. They have no soul. They have ripped off the style of a bunch of. There's a Nissan. I see an Infiniti style. I see a Tesla. I see a Range Rover, GMC, Toyota. They all kind of. Let's see. C30 is their one car. SUV. Great Wall H6 and M4. Pickup. The Wingle. Oh, guys. You need a branding expert, man. This needs a new. First off, it looks like an Infinity logo. Second off, you're really gonna call your SUV a Wingle? What? Wingles? You can't say it without laughing. Listen, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it looks fantastic. But you called it a Wingle. I can't buy that. Nor can I buy something called the Great Wall. I could buy something called a GWM, Great Wall Motors, but I can't spend $20, $30, $40,000 on a Wingle. Sorry, that's a non-starter. Hey, Great Wall Motor Company, call me. I'll rebrand you. No problem. You can pay me partially in stock. Yeah, that needs an American brand. You know who's another good one? What am I on? I gotta end soon. Is it San Francisco? San Francisco Motors, SF Motors. Is it believe that's a Chinese company. And intelligent EVs for everybody. sfmotors.com. Now this is an electric car I can get behind. Does it have the same problems they all do? Sure. Does it use way too many rare earth metals? Of course. But it's got some oomph in it. Oh, I think it looks nicer too than a Tesla. Manufacturing. Oof, 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 oof. Yeah. So, anyway, everybody, Vidulant.com. Check it out. Stay vigilant and stay alive. Talk soon. Bye.